So our first Earth Talk is by Professor Wes Howard Brook. Take it away, Wes.
Thank you, Phil. Wonderful to be with you, and what an honor to follow Dennis Hayes. I'd like to start by recognizing that this center that is sponsoring this has done so many wonderful things at Seattle U and beyond, and I happen to have been the beneficiary of a grant to help write a recent book of mine that explored the roots of theology's relationship with the earth within Christianity. So I'm very grateful for Phil's leadership and for the staff there as well. I'm going to share my screen and start with a quote from Laudato Si, the papal encyclical from Pope Francis, the Jesuit Pope, who named himself after the saint who loved the earth. And just start with a brief quote here, as hopefully you can see on your screen as well. Francis helps us see that an integral ecology calls for openness to categories which transcend the language of mathematics and biology and take us to the heart of what it is to be human. Just as happens when we fall in love with someone, whenever he would gaze at the sun, the moon, or the smallest of animals, he burst into song, drawing all creatures into his praise. His response to the world around him was so much more than intellectual appreciation or economic calculus, for to him each and every creature was a sister united to him by bonds of affection. If we feel intimately united with all that exists, then sobriety and care will well up in us spontaneously. So that's the quote that inspires my choosing to do my talk here on falling in love with the land. And long before Laudato Si, this quote from the song Starship Trooper from the band Yes also spoke to me about what we're doing here. I still remember the talks by the water, the proud sons and daughter who knew the knowledge of the land and spoke to me in sweet, accustomed ways. The land that I want to talk about is Tiger Mountain, and this is where I live, right here in Issaquah, and here you see Tiger Mountain. I know there are many of us here and around who could also do similar talks on the land they love. I saw that my friend and colleague, civil engineering professor Wes Lauer, is with us today, and he led me on a lovely hike one day in his beloved area on the Stillaguamish River, which he not only loves, but has worked with indigenous people to heal and restore. Similarly, here, Tiger Mountain is connected with the Issaquah Creek watershed, which was the indigenous land of the Issaquah Band of the Snoqualmie people. Thanks to our colleague, Dr. Christina Roberts, I'm aware that the Issaquah community's longhouse was at the mouth of Issaquah Creek where it meets Lake Sammamish right here. This is an aerial view, but to fall in love with the land, we have to get a little closer. I can't do this without showing Harvey Manning, who without Harvey, Tiger Mountain would not be a state forest, and he was such a lover of the land and worked so hard with the state legislature to preserve the three mountains in our area that we call the Issaquah Alps, Tiger, Squaw, and Cougar. And we're starting here with my granddaughter, Edie, who's another generation who can learn to love this local land. Here's the entrance to the trailhead. I'm going to take us on a little hike here up Tiger Mountain. This is what it looks like from the back fence of our house, heading up right off where I-90 and Tiger Mountain meet. And this time of year, it's bursting with spring, as it is all over, but in special ways, like skunk cabbage, which bursts up right out of the mucky ground. Here I am with my dog Josie, beginning our hike. Off we go. And this time of year especially, we see salmon berries that bloom into delicious fruit in the summer. And we also have Devil's Club, which don't grab them. That's the reason. These spikes at the bottom, they're called Devil's Club, but they're also an amazing example of life unfurling, both at that distance and even up close like this. It's my sense that if we can't love a beauty like that, then we're not prepared to save and work to save this planet. But we share it with others, don't we? Here's a friend that I met on the trail one day, and it also takes place with wildflowers like Shasta daisies and foxgloves and lupin and trillium. And there are owls in the trees that we've heard many times. Here's my grandson Dylan Jack climbing over a little creek bed. And here he is with his dad Nate in the talus rocks, the remnants of the original glaciers that went through this area. And there he is with my friend Tom, a regular hiker on this mountain, and with my beloved wife Sue in the same place. There's a bear cub up in the tree. Hopefully everybody can see that bear cub who was looking down at me one day. And the mountain is also covered with mushrooms of all kinds, including oyster mushrooms, which are deliciously edible, just deliciously edible. And here's Round Lake, which is a pond that isn't really a lake, and it dries out in the summer. But in the winter, in the winter, it provides fun for all, including for our dog Josie, who's running on the frozen ground. And it's snowy there a lot of the year too. Here we are with my son Peter, and the light shining through so beautifully. And at the creek that marks the halfway point up to Poo Poo Point. And here we are at the top of Poo Poo Point. You can look out there with my friends Tom and Marilyn out to the city of Issaquah and the entire Snoqualmie watershed, out to Lake Sammamish and to Lake Washington beyond. Here's Lake Washington, and those of you in Seattle are out that way. And off to the south is Mount Baker, and off to the north is Mount Rainier, as we sit amidst our chain of geological wonders in our local place here. That's my journey with you up Tiger Mountain. I hope you can also fall in love with some particular place and make that love what motivates you to be people who care and love for the earth. Thank you.